Hello everyone, we're going to try this again. Today I'm going to be discussing the event, but it's not just going to be the event. I'm going to be offshooting into different visions that I received. As I received a multitude of visions that I'll be breaking down for you, all of it is very much proportionate to the event and everything that's transpiring at this time on our planet Earth. If you haven't watched the event part 1, I would suggest that you do this before you tune into this one. All right, so as you guys know, there are a lot of energies that are coming into this planet at this time. A huge influx of cosmic frequencies, a huge influx of higher dimensional light codes that are really activating our divine blueprint, that are really allowing for us to remember who we really are. And this is happening at a faster rate than ever. Okay, so there's going to be almost like a splitting of two worlds, the new Earth, the old Earth, but we're going to focus on the new Earth today because this is where things are headed anyways. The first download that I got in regards to the event was that I saw a cubicle, and the cubicle was like metaphoric for how people sometimes don't want to look in the office space. They're really just in denial with what's going on in their lives. So they can have like really nice flowers in their cubicle or positive affirmations and a nice pen maybe. And they've trained themselves to be positive. However, there's all these other things in their lives that are taking place that they're not wanting to look at because it's too much for them. It's too immense. It's too intense. And if they did look at it, their entire dissolution state would shatter into 1,000 pieces. So a lot of people right now who have been on this path of the spiritual ascension, you guys are going to be more than okay. As a matter of fact, everyone's going to be more than okay because everyone has a chance to up-level and uplift into these new waves of consciousness, into these new dimensions of reality, into the 5D New Earth reality. So everyone has a chance right now. It's a really auspicious time. It's a promising time. It's what we've been calling forward since 2012, the winter solstice, December 21st. And all of that is now actually coming to fruition. So you could say that the last years we've been, I guess, architecting or mapping it all out at an energetic level, which is what we do. And now the changes are happening at critical mass level. So I got a vision that everyone who's been on a spiritual path is going to be accelerating like no tomorrow. It's almost like ascension on steroids. If you're tuning into this, the chances are you're part of that because you're either star-seeded or you're a way-shower of sorts or both, or you're psychic or medium or a light worker of sorts. So if you're tuning into this right now, you're already on a path of ascension. Or you've already made it to 5D. One thing I do want to say before I really get into discussing the different downloads is the event was always here. Because through our multisensory perception, we're always able to bring information in from other timelines. So even though this event is taking place for everyone at a physical level, meaning that we're moving ourselves into the new Earth reality, and we're stepping out of the 3D duality reality, all right, which roots in the polarities of good or bad or evil or good or right or wrong or masculine, feminine. We're really starting to come out of separation now. Now, there will always be a masculine and feminine, and a king and a queen, and an electric and a magnetic. However, we won't really see ourselves as these physical beings anymore that have to debate and argue and be jealous of other people or envious. We're letting go of separation from within, and we're now moving into unification from within. So all of you are being fast-tracked into New Earth, everyone. And this event was always here, but again, it's taking place en masse. Now, it's always been taking place energetically, but we're going to find that, obviously you guys, if there's still people killing each other out there in the world, as a collective, we haven't fully moved into unity. You guys understand that, right? So we haven't fully moved into unity, but we're moving into a fourth density world, a fifth dimensional consciousness, a new Earth consciousness, and we're starting to to move ourselves into that. And so I'm sure that in 1,000 years or whatever, we'll be a very harmonized, unified collective of beings, all working in collaboration with each other, all supporting each other, all cooperating with each other, and living from our hearts. So essentially, what just came to me now, and for those of you who know, I tried to do this before. It was the video was deleted, so I'm doing it again. I'm going to receive a lot more downloads on this video. I'm going to take my time with it. So essentially, we're moving from a 3D mindset or a mentality, which was rooted in duality, separation, judgment, fear, anger, all of this stuff. And we're now shifting into the heart-centered space of unity consciousness. That's what the event is. I didn't share that on the video yesterday, but that's what the event is. So I saw that there were different groups of humans. There were those who have been awakened for a myriad of years, probably since 2011, 2012, who have really been diligently working on themselves. And so they've been tuned into the new earth energy for a really long time. Then there's another group who is newly awakened, or always knew that they were special, but they're starting to become aware of everything, of the illusion of separation. They're starting to become aware of their own programs that they're still running within their biological body system or energy system. And so those people are very receptive to change. And then I saw a third group, which was people who are living in a cubicle. They're in complete denial of their surroundings, of their shadow self. The shadow is everything that we keep disowning or rejecting or denying. It's actually not a bad thing. The shadow is a beautiful thing that just needs to be integrated back in. So the message I got was like, if you have, let's say, a woman, and I'm just using a woman in this example, but this can apply to a man. If you have a woman who's been in a relationship for a long time, and she's falling at the feet of mercy and hoping that this guy is going to propose, but the guy isn't very responsive, he's not very communicative, he's not very compliant, so he's probably not fully in love with her, because when you're in love, you don't question it, you just pretty much go for it. So you have this woman who's in a relationship, and she is hanging on by a thread, meaning that she's given all of her power away to this man, and she's in a cubicle convincing herself that everything's going to work out when everyone around her already knows that there's so many red flags here, and it's not looking too promising. Now, let's say this woman wants to be a mom, and that's her priority in life, is to be a mom with a solid partner. But this guy is anything but solid. If anything, he's bringing up all of her insecurities, all of her abandonment, all of her I'm not enough, the inadequacy, lack of self-worth. But she's somehow fragmented or split her mind in two, and is only choosing to live in the cubicle that everything is going to be okay because I have to be positive and my thoughts create my reality. And if I'm positive, he'll end up dropping on one knee and proposing, and we'll eventually have a family. Well, the years go by, and this woman is already 36 years old, and her biological clock is ticking. There is such a thing as a biological clock. That is factual, okay? So, say that she keeps living in denial in this cubicle with all these beautiful flowers, that everything's going to be okay. I just know it, I know it, because she has nothing left to hang on to. She's already given all of her power away to this man or to the situation. Well, the metaphor I received is that would be equivalent to having stage 4 cancer, meaning that there are groups of people in the world who get so defensive if you want to help them, because they're protecting with a vengeance. They're protecting what they're clinging on to, and the truth is blinding. It's like a light that's blinding to them, and they do not want to hear it. This group of people, they sort of have like stage 4 cancer. Now, the good news about the stage 4 cancer is you're not dead yet. All right. Miracles can happen. But it has to happen through some sort of an awakening or from a divine intervention from God or source, or you seeing the right synchronicity at the right time, or the guy ending, like breaking up with you and saying, hey, I'm not in love with you. And then you sobbing and breaking down and having this, when we break down, it clears space in our body. It decongests the vibratory field. It declutters your internal body. So crying is really good. I actually encourage it when you have an emotional release. But this woman, it would dawn on her that, wow, like my idea of what I thought was going to happen with this guy has been completely collapsed. It's not happening. But then it's a gift, because then she can decide, well, you know what? I want to be a mom, and I'm not going to put that on the back burner anymore at the expense of myself just to appease this man. I'm going to choose to take matters in my own hand and marry someone who's good to me, someone that I can love, someone who loves me and isn't playing emotionally unavailable. And then she would be able to save herself. But there's another potential where she wouldn't have been able to, meaning like 2 more years would have passed by and her biological clock, it ticks and it's over and she's not able to have kids anymore. Now there would always be other options like adoption and so forth, but her deep desire that she suppressed for a man because she was at the mercy of a man, her deep desire, which is to conceive a child of her own, wouldn't happen anymore. But there would still be alternatives like adoption and so forth. So I saw this group of people who live in utter, complete denial. And you can have a wonderful cubicle, but if you're not willing to look at the room, then you're not looking at the shadow. You're not looking at what everyone is waving at you to look at, and they might not be telling you because they know how defensive you can get. But everyone around you knows, like, you're living in a dissolution state. So I saw this, and I'll do another video, you guys, about like that pertains to speaking your truth. And if we should speak our truth, when should we speak our truth? I'll get into that in another video, but because I talked about that yesterday, but I feel like this video should solely be about the event and all of these incoming energies and how they're transforming us from the inside out right now and how our realities are bending sideways or turning upside down. So this video is about the event. So I saw 3 groups of people: the people who have been awakened for a long time on this path, who are quite illuminated. And by illuminated, I mean that they may not be perfect. None of us are, but they're able to be aware of everything that's going on and they're able to course correct themselves in real time. I saw this other group of people who are newly awakened and are like a sponge. They want to soak it all up. They want as much information as they can. And a lot of you tuning into this right now are part of this group. You guys are doing such a marvelous job, by the way, at being present with your journey, taking constructive criticism, or being willing to look at yourself and hold yourself accountable for what you attract into your life or how you respond to what you attract. I like that better, how you respond to what you attract, because we don't always have control over what we attract. But you guys are really awakening. Like, your spiritual sight is coming online. You're going from like 2 on 20 to 20/20 vision, spiritual vision, and it's happening really quickly. And then there's this other group of people who have a very low light quotient. A light quotient is like a ratio. So the people who are like newly awakening, they may have a lot of impurities in them because they've been building up so much karma. They've accrued so much karmic debt. I was that person in 2011. I'm sure I still have some debt I have to pay, but I went through like a rigorous process of having to purify my soul again. And it was a beautiful journey because I could take stock of everything, every place within my life where I had been dishonest or manipulative, and we were clean sweeping all of that away now. So that's having a high light quotient, because when you have a high light quotient, you may have traumas or impurities within yourself, but your awareness trumps it. Your awareness can override it. and you start to purify yourself again. Everything is about awareness. You know, awareness is the key to expanding your consciousness. It's the key. So as long as you're aware, you're on an amazing path. Okay? So this other group of people had a very low light quotient, meaning that they had more darkness than light in them, more shadow than awareness, more unconsciousness than consciousness. So sometimes you know things about people and you don't say anything because you already know they're going to lash out. People who are in that dark quotient, a higher dark quotient, they usually have entities attached to them, and it's possession. So they've given so much of their power away that their soul is almost like not there. It's nowhere to be found. It's MIA. And they're now inhabited or nested, it's like a nest, by all these other lower astral beings who are ruling their kingdom and ruling their mind. And they get energy from that. They get energy from people who are in a disempowered state because, you know, those people entertain a lot of stress and worry. Even though they've managed to fragment into the beautiful cubicle, there's still a part of them that knows, like, I'm not happy here. Like, I'm not becoming a mom. I'm not, like, my dreams aren't coming true. And they agonize over it, but they won't tell you that, you know, because they prefer to entertain the dissolution state where it might actually happen, you know, where the fairy tale might actually come true, than to get real, you know, and buckle down and get real about their lives. That's why it's so important to not bypass in life, to not just say that, like, everything is love and light. We need to look at the shadow. This is an instrumental in our evolving and ascending to higher and higher states of consciousness. You can't just bypass everything. So these people, as these incoming light frequencies enter the planet and are showered upon us, they're gonna freak out in that the 3D is collapsing now. And those people were operating strictly within 3D. They were functioning from a scarcity mindset. Anytime someone is in a disempowered state, there's scarcity going on because they're living in lack. They don't think they're worthy of more. They don't think they're worthy of that Prince Charming that will treat them like a princess. They don't think they're worthy of abundance, of money, and so forth. So those people are like horses with blinders, like in a cubicle, and they're not able to see outside the periphery of their consciousness, outside of the purview of their mind. They're not able to because they belong to the 3D. The 3D is when you're governed by time. The 3D is when you're in lack. The 3D is also when you're not able to be open and receptive to different perspectives because it poses a threat to your ego. So the 3D is like when you're completely enmeshed in ego, as ego, with ego. The ego is like a weed and it's wrapped around you and you can't see anything. You're spiritually blind. That's what the 3D mentality is. So the people residing on 3D, well, 3D is now disintegrating. So the vision I got around that was musical chairs. So you know how, like, in musical chairs, they pull out a chair and then there's less and less chairs and there's nowhere left to sit. So those people are scrambling to remain on the 3D, but little do they know, 3D is collapsing for good. So in 1,000 years from now, there won't be 3D. There won't be hate, jealousy, envy. There won't be any of that. That energy isn't allowed on New Earth. You know, that's why when you try to manipulate someone who's operating from a fifth dimensional consciousness, they don't let you get away with it. They call it out because they're not letting that in to the New Earth that they're now residing within. Does that make sense? So New Earth, how I see it is like Earth has been abused so many lifetimes. She's like a human. So she could take because she loves us. But she was abused to death. And eventually she had her own Kundalini awakening. Sorry, my thing just went off. So eventually she had her own Kundalini awakening, and she's like, I'm done letting people treat me like a doormat. I'm done letting people drive all over me like a speed bump. I'm taking my power back. So New Earth is like the upgraded version of Earth 3D. She's you. She's that person who's like, I'm done, making agreements with things that suck my energy, that pirate my energy, that I'm done giving my power away. I'm done hanging out with people that don't resonate with me. I can love them from afar, but I'm going to start putting myself first. I'm not going to let people take advantage of me anymore. I'm not going to let people disrespect me anymore. I'm not going to be at the mercy of anyone anymore. So to simplify it, 5D New Earth reality, New Earth 5D, is the revamped version, the reinvented version of 3D. She went through her own evolution process. So the event is almost like the Rainbow Bridge. The event is 3D traversing the 4D, meaning like we're all going to go through mass awakenings right now. We're going to better ourselves. We're going to figure out where we were abusing 3D Earth, which is abusing ourselves, where we weren't holding ourselves to the highest regard, where we weren't operating at the highest caliber, right? It's all interconnected. So whenever you've abused yourself, you've abused planet Earth. So she's like a human, and she's now traversing through this beautiful golden spiral, or this rainbow spiral, this rainbow bridge, to move into 5D Earth, where all of us will be able to help each other and support each other. There won't be any lack, any fear. She's already there, right? So 5D Earth is the consciousness of 5D Earth is already here. I live in that space every day. However, physically, we're all moving as a collective. We all have to do this together. So 5D to me isn't fully brought to completion, isn't fully here until we all love each other and we stop using violence or hurting each other. To me, that's 5D New Earth, fully physicalized, fully manifested. But right now, 5D New Earth is already here, and you can feel her just through your consciousness. You can be aligned with that reality where you're not attracting violence anymore, where you're not attracting trauma or drama or chaos anymore, because the people in your life have a similar resonance. Your vibratory resonance doesn't attract that anymore. So we can live in a 5D New Earth reality right now. She's already here. So I just want to clarify that. But the event is more of us ascending. So, all right. So this group of people, the third group, they have stage 4 cancer energetically. All right. I speak metaphorically, you guys. They have stage 4 cancer. They haven't been going to the doctor. They haven't been asking their friends for advice, meaning they haven't been getting their checkups. And it compiles and it compiles and it compiles and it compiles. And before you know, you go, oh my God, I can't believe I have stage 4 cancer. But then you know, there's always a chance for a turnaround. You're not dead yet. So the word that's coming through right now is petrified. Those people are petrified of change. Petrified. Because they don't want to hear the truth. Because truth is light. Light is consciousness, and if you shed too much consciousness on unconsciousness on the dark side, it will lash out, you know? And I've actually had entities scratch my face. I've actually had entities stab me. I felt it. Or use a hammer and like hammer my head, like beat me on my head. I felt it through humans. So this stuff is real, you guys. And I had a friend years ago, before I even awakened, like this was like 2008, and he was a driver for Hollywood, like old Hollywood actresses, classic Hollywood actresses. And one of them was a belligerent drunk, an alcoholic. She was 80 or 82 years old at the time, and she was still alive. And he said to me, Phil, I don't understand how this woman is still walking. She drinks like a tank. And I said, she's not alive. The entities that are now ruling her kingdom are using her as a host, as a drone, as a vessel to keep sucking energy around her, of the people around her. So if she goes to a restaurant and she's falling all over the place, which she did, I used to go out with them sometimes. Well, she's taking other people's energy, the people you have to that have to pick her up, or when she gets really mad and she looks at you like that, like the demons are coming online, you know? So the demons will keep certain people alive to use them as hosts to then take other people's energies. So they harvest energy. So, but her soul is already gone. So yeah, my message is we have to start really bringing awareness to what we don't want to face. Because this energy that we are being bombarded with, this isn't a drizzle of higher light frequencies. This is a thunderstorm. These energies are not going to let us get away with that anymore. They're not going to let us hide behind a bush. They're not going to let us try to escape into a fanciful reality of he's going to propose, I just know it. They're not going to do that. So things are going to get really intense for these people over here. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if, you know how like when you don't listen to your guides, like they start to shake you up to wake you up. You might get in a car accident and then you don't have a choice but to listen, right? It's not up to you anymore. But really it's a divine intervention. A lot of those people are going to have divine interventions, but it's not too late. It could be too late for them if they keep, you know, pushing away people's advice or not listening and not realizing that the people around them love them and just want the best for them. Because remember, the universe speaks through everyone. So when someone tells you something, it's important to listen. You don't necessarily have to agree, but it's important to listen because it could be a message from the universe. It could be a message from your guides through them because your guides couldn't reach you. So now they're using a person to now reach you, to make contact. So we can expect there to be a lot of turmoil on the planet because things almost have to get very messy before they get better. So don't be surprised if a lot of people in the political arena start to get exposed for corruption, or financial institutions start to crumble. Like a lot, everything that's been hiding in the shadow, right, is going to start to bubble up and become visible. It's coming out of the Shadowlands now. So the event. Oh, this is another vision I got too. I saw that there was like a ship sailing into the sea from the harbor, and a lot of the people in that third group, the denial group, a lot of those people, and I just know I don't mean that badly, it's fact, like matter of factly speaking, a lot of people are not facing what's being whispered in their ear. They're not hearing it, or they're not wanting to see what people are presenting. They don't want to look at the shadow. They don't want to look at the truth, because truth and shadow could be the same thing, you know? So the download I got is I saw like this ship sailing into the sea and people realizing, oh my God, we're being left behind. And they're going to want salvation. They're going to be like screaming like, no, please wait for us. Please wait for us. We want to come to New Earth too. We want to come to New Earth too. And they're going to want to come on board. And so our job as the light holders, our job as the frequency raisers, our job as the light raisers is to always hold a space for everyone, including ourselves. You know, always be good to yourself. Always be gentle with yourself. But I did get this very clear vision, and again, a metaphor, that those people would be like, no, please, 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 I'll do anything. I'm willing. I just want to make it to New Earth. And they're going to have like a last minute epiphany, or a last minute like spontaneous awakening of sorts, where if they have to choose between staying in the misery of 3D or another version of Earth, like say that in 1,000 years there's going to be another version of Earth or another planet that hosts those people or those lower dimensional energies. If they have a choice between staying on a planet like that or coming with and being willing to like do everything they can to better themselves and to remedy themselves and to nurse their traumas and to face their traumas, then they would choose that. They would choose to, you know, in a way, like let this person go completely, like drop that template completely template of the self, of that old self. So we're here to be space holders. We're holding a space for people. And we're holding a space for each other because we're going through our own stuff as well. So a lot is going to be surfacing, and a lot of what you interact with within your mind, or whatever you interface with within your mind, a lot of it is going to be these different energy imprints that are now coming to the surface that were suppressed for so long. You know, we're cleaning it up now. So this is it. This is the event part 2. I'll come back another time and talk about how when it's appropriate to speak your truth or not. But remember something. Even if you're that person who's been in a cubicle for a long time in denial, just reach out to someone and know that the world is not your enemy. People are not your enemy. They never were. That was just your own projection. People love you. Your family members love you. Reach out to them. Open up your heart. They want what you want, and it's not too late. It's not too late. If you don't reach out for help and get real about your life, it will be too late. But they're here for you. Everyone is here for you. Everyone is rooting for you. Your angels are up on the bleachers somewhere. They're rooting for you from the bleachers. They love you. So you guys are doing an exceptional job. Know that. I love you. For all of you who are meditating and working on yourself and plugging those hours into your soul advancement, that's the good stuff right there. You know, that's what we do. We are dedicated to this journey, and through that we accelerate our journey. Obviously, there is no easy button to ascension, as you guys already know, but the shortcut is recognizing that this is an internal path, that everyone is a mirror for you, that we don't go outside and go unconscious anymore. We don't fall from consciousness anymore. That's what falling from consciousness is. You go unconscious. We don't let this external hologram dictate what our reaction is going to be. You know, we hold ourselves accountable for what's coming up, those visceral knee-jerk reactions, and we clean it up from within. We correct it from within. That's the shortcut. The scenic route, which takes a lot longer, is not so scenic, and that's you constantly going unconscious again, falling back asleep, and trying to control other people, or trying to project onto people that they shouldn't tell you this, they shouldn't tell you that. That's the old way. That's separation. We don't do that anymore. We go into our hearts, we take a good hard look at ourselves, and we make the necessary course corrections. So I love you guys so much. The event is here. I'm excited. We are awakening en masse, and this is a very auspicious time. Much love.